A Buffet for Monsters. A story by Salami Mommy. Dear God, I wish I could make this up. I know it's gonna sound strange. I was hooked on meth and robbed a gas station so I could feed my habit. I still have every memory of it. I walked into the store and a young fellow who was in college greeted me. I held up a pistol and told him to empty the register. I was so close to pulling the trigger, but I didn't. Cops got called after I hightailed out, and they found me shortly after. I did okay in prison, stayed out of trouble in fights. Seeing my mom bawl during my sentencing will forever haunt my memory. They quit having things to do with me after I pawned her ring and other things for drug money. My cellmate was a really nice guy too, and understood how I didn't have any plans when I got out. He told me he had an uncle who owned a restaurant and would love to hire me too. It'd be great money and have free lodging. I knew it would be my best bet considering most jobs around here that took felons in gave horrible pay or really rough labor. My cellmate got out a few weeks before I did. The day I got out, his uncle stood by the gate in front of a black Cadillac. He wore a black suit and was holding a cane with a silver wolf's head on it. "Hello, James. It's a pleasure." His hand felt so cold when I shook it. "My name is Stan. My nephew has told me plenty about you, and you deserve a second chance. Please, sit in the back, and I'll fill you in on the details." I quietly sat in the car as he got in the passenger front. He lifted his hand and an old man in suit and worn scally cap began to turn the wheel and move. "We're going another state off. We live in a little no-name town with no crime or drugs. The kind of work you'll be doing betters the community." He's right. I do believe a good restaurant brings the community together. He reached back his cold hand holding a golden necklace. "This is an amulet, James. It's mandatory you wear it always. Never get caught without it. Let's just say that the last man who forgot to wear it wasn't around long." The driver let out a quaint chuckle, followed by a cough. "This amulet provides you protection. None of our customers can harm you as long as you wear it." Sounds like we're feeding a bunch of monsters. "No, James. You'll find that people are truly the monsters. Some sit in courthouses, others selling poison, and some that are truly malignant." The rest of the drive was quiet. About 2 hours pass, and we pull up to this older brick building. The driver opens Stan's door. "Okay, James, your room number is 6. You can have it for a while until you can afford an apartment. Before you go in there, I need to show you how this place works." We walked through the back door and it was full of people preparing food that I couldn't see from where I was standing. "Your job is simple. Deliver the food we sit on this table." His voice was so monotoned, yet dreary. "Look through this window. Don't scream. If you scream, things get bad." I looked through the window and it took my breath. I seen ghouls, ghosts, vampires, werewolves, monsters of all kinds, loading up on plates and eating. Any kind of creature you could think of was there. Some looked like humans while some looked like pure evil. "Remember, that amulet will protect you. Some may try to convince you to take it off, but you better not." He was pointing his pale finger at me. "They come here and eat instead of going to the streets and ravaging towns and innocent people. We do good and honest work." I looked on the plates and seen the most vile things imaginable. Where does this food come from? It's better you not ask. I think I'm gonna be sick." "Most people do at first, but you'll get used to it. When you're done, I'm going to need you to carry about that tray of eyeballs. I carried the tray and did not dare look down. I felt so scared, and these monsters began to stare at me. My body was shaking, though I tried hard to keep my composure. Excuse me. Excuse me. I turned around after setting the food down in the marked location. It was an ogre about 7 feet tall looking at me. Tell them we need more blood pudding. I felt my knees buckling. Yes, sir. Thank you. I walked back in the kitchen and told one of the guys. One of them looked back at me. Hey, new guy, we need help in the basement. His hand was making a rushing gesture. I walked in the basement and there was a young lady chained up. She began crying. Please, I didn't see anything. I'm supposed to get married next month. The guy looked at me. We usually get homeless people, but she was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I froze. Come on, new guy. This is heroic work. You don't want them to fire you or let monsters eat the people in the street. You only do this once a month. I put my head down and nodded that I'd help. Congratulations! You've passed the test. I turned around and Stan walked in the room being led by his cane. Did I do good? The girl had a huge smile on her face. Yes, Lily, you did amazing. Take the rest of the day off. She unshackled herself and walked out the door. You can take the rest of the day off too if you want to. Go ahead and check out your room. Up there is where you'll find your rule list. All I could muster out was, where's your nephew? He died in a prison fight back in '99. But that doesn't mean we don't ever communicate. He only talks to the ones he thinks deserves a better life. Congratulations! I walked up a flight of stairs to where the apartment numbers were, which was directly above the restaurant. I walked past all of the rooms until I got to the number 6. I walked in and noticed how clean and small the apartment was. It was a studio-sized one with a small couch for a pull-out bed. It had all the essentials, really, besides a laundry room, which was down the hall. On my desk was a letter along with rules which Stan did tell me to make sure to read. To the new employee reading this, welcome aboard! We do hope you remember everything you read and feel free to ask Stan any questions you may have. This restaurant has been around since my grandfather opened it. He was traveling through cities and decided to call this place home. My grandfather's name was Dean Helper. The last name was true to who he was, as he was a peaceful man who loved to help others and find solutions. Speculations of monsters terrorizing this town became more popular due to eyewitnesses and claims of livestock being mutilated. My grandfather made a visit to a woman who believed to be a witch. They made a deal that he would open a restaurant for the creatures and feed them in exchange for town peace. Greta is still alive and makes occasional visits to the restaurant as well. She created the amulets and how to make them for our protection. What started out as a small restaurant that only had 6 tables has now grown into a big successful business thanks to the word of mouth among monsters, and thanks to Greta as well. Below are rules that are required to work here. 1. Always wear the amulet. Never take it off. Number 2. Quitting is forbidden. We have information on you and your loved ones. 3. Your loyalty will be tested. Failure to prove will cost you your life or worse. Number 4. Treat Greta with the utmost respect. If ever she comes in here, failure to do such will end badly for you. Rule number 5. Do not insult the monsters. And number 6. Do not let monster hunters find this place. We do a good kind of work here, and this operation is way bigger than you could imagine. We actually don't kidnap people that don't deserve it. Reading this far meant you passed your first test of many. Some monsters are very kind, while some truly are evil. Keep that in mind. I wish you good luck. I sat in my chair and felt completely stumped. I felt so fortunate I passed the test, but it did require a lot of who I am. I had so many questions I was hoping I could ask Stan with time. I didn't get too much sleep that night. I felt like a lot of coworkers were normalized with the job, just as we would at an office or factory. It's only a matter of time before I was too. Working the next day still felt odd. Most of the time I was carrying out the trays and not even looking down. I could hear goblins laughing and other conversations. I looked next to me and seen the ogre from yesterday. I decided I would try to speak to him. Hey, you need any more blood pudding? That sounds nice. Thank you. No problem. What's your name? My name is Frank. I heard a little girl's voice creep up behind him. Daddy, could you have them bring out more toe tenders? There was a little ogre in a pink dress hiding behind his leg. He looked back up at me with a smile. His ears bent down a little bit too. What do you think? Could you get some more? Sure, I'll go tell the kitchen. She let out a little chuckle and a shy smile back to me. She ran back to her table where I saw her mom holding on to another ogre baby. I went in and told the crew what was needed, and then I heard hollering and some punching sounds. Two of the crew was dragging a guy out. Damn it, man, you failed the test. Please, please! Lily followed them, looking distraught. Stan came out of his office and demanded every employee follow them. Another employee grabbed a microphone. Attention to our wonderful customers! We have a live body up for grabs, and the next person who is on the wait list is Carl Spengler! Yes! A man in a suit and tie stood up and began giving some monsters some high fives. That name sounded familiar. I remembered seeing his name on a billboard. He was the town's #1 divorce lawyer. An employee twisted a picture of Stan's grandfather on a wall, which began to slide up. We all gathered in the room, and Stan stood before the man who was knocked to his knees. You had a chance and failed. You jeopardized the bigger picture, and everything good in my grandfather's legacy. He smacked him with his cane. This is our new guy, everyone. Started like 30 minutes ago. Picked him up from a homeless shelter. It's not even worth telling you his name now. He reached down and pulled off the man's amulet. Enjoy your meal. The wall dropped behind us as we all stood in that concrete, blood-stained room. The man stood up and was whimpering. Carl walked up and grabbed the man by his shirt. His mouth grew about 10 times the average size and leaned over and bit the man's head and neck completely off. Blood began spewing and the body dropped. He reached down and ripped off one of the man's legs with one arm. I began shaking uncontrollably and felt a hand grab mine. It was Lily. Don't scream. Don't scream. Carl pulled out a handkerchief and wiped his face. Let someone else get the rest. The wall came back up and he carried out the leg. The guy with the microphone made the announcement, and once we walked out, a few werewolves and goblins took off running in there. I was horrified and tears came down my eyes. Lily was still holding my hand. Our shift's over anyway. Come with me and let's go get a drink. I know a good place. And that's the story so far. I'll update you guys as soon as I can.